We all have an inner perfectionist, right? An inner critic. And this inner critic or this inner perfectionist we can call the ego. It sets such high boundaries for us that we effectively can't reach because we're human, right? Today I'm going to talk about how this inner critic or this inner perfectionist, firstly, isn't who we are. Secondly, why we shouldn't be listening to it. And thirdly, how it can turn into perhaps bordering on narcissistic, and how this inner voice potentially is losing us friends, stopping us from deepening our connection firstly with self but also with others. When we expect excellence and give less than excellence, it doesn't work. You get back what you put out, right? So I'm going to talk a little bit about this today. All of us, to varying degrees, notice this inner voice, this inner negativity. Usually it sets very high bars for ourselves, very high standards for ourselves when it comes to what we expect from life, what we expect to give in friendships, what we expect to get back from friendships. And sometimes we can find ourselves a little bit guilty of wanting the world and giving nothing. It's a law of exchange, isn't it? We get back what we put out. If we give out love, we get love back. If we hold love in, we get that back. We see other people have opportunities to love us, but they won't. Why? Because we're holding it back from ourselves. If we want to create the path of least resistance, we have to open our hearts, right? And this comes with working with the heart chakra, and of course, if you wish, down below you can do a breathing exercise. I'll also put down the chakra rotation meditation that you can use with the bija mantras to awaken the love in your heart space, in your heart center, and also awaken the other chakra points in your body. It's free, you have to sign up, but it's free. And it's almost like a preamble for Kundalini awakening, which is, well, just an experience really, but something quite magical that will open your eyes, mind and heart to a different way of life. A not better way of life, because that's poor terminology, but a life that's not led in toxicity and is more led in love, so that we receive more of that back. This inner critic will set these boundaries for you, and when you don't reach them, it will tell you you're not good enough. Which is sad really, because our ego sets us up for failure. It's almost like we could say, perhaps, it likes that it likes setting us up for failure and then telling us that we failed. It's almost like there's something in us that that's attracted to pain. Usually, for most of us, we find it easier to feel pain than we do love, because pain's really readily available because we constantly do it to ourselves with our mind, right? But love, I'm not sure about that. You know, the external world withholds love for ourselves. I'm not sure if I'm worthy of love, so we don't bother doing it within ourselves. There's almost also a bit of a judgment on it, I suppose, in our society. It's like, well, no one's happy, you can't be happy too. you know, it's kind of silly. Or no one loves me, so I'm going to constantly not love anybody else. And it's silly, it's a societal issue because it's quite a narcissistic society, so it's like people think they're better than you and therefore they don't love you. They won't show you that they love you. They probably do love you, but they won't show you that they love you because that makes them perceivably to themselves weak. It's also kind of why people don't smile much anymore. There's this poor girl, she's famous, I can't remember her name, Billie Eilish. She did this, I say poor girl, she's fantastically successful. Poor girl sounds arrogant. I'm sure she's having a wonderful life, but she said this one thing in an interview. She said, I don't smile because it makes me look weak. And I thought, well, that's so sad. You know, how can somebody with this much success perceivably not want to smile. And it's because of this inner critic in the mind, this fiend that we identify with, this voice in our head that we consider ours. But it's not, it's the ego. The ego's the troubleshooter. Or let's use Billie Eilish in this example. Oh, I don't smile because it makes me look weak. Perhaps the ego is looking around, troubleshooting, got its defences up because perhaps she's scared of getting vulnerable. Who knows? I don't know. I don't know the girl. I'm just speaking really from my experience. I hated getting vulnerable, especially to women, as you know, through this, because I've shared enough now. In my past, I hated getting vulnerable. Now, of course, I get vulnerable on the internet. Call me a lunatic if you like. But the inner critic will stop you doing that. And if you're about to share or beginning to share your message, the inner critic will try and stop you. But it's important to know that that voice that claims to be I or you, that speaks to you in your mind, isn't you. It's the ego. It's this protection mechanism. And if we have a Kundalini awakening, in one moment, the ego will likely get whisked away. And we can put the mask back on. It'll be a different mask. We can put that mask on. For example, my mask now, I suppose, is life coach, spiritual mentor, spiritual friend. But these don't hold such... I'm not so gripped to these identities so much anymore. And the Kundalini awakening will do that if you're going through this experience. And I'm not so gripped to this narcissistic perfectionist in the mind that we call I. But we're not giving ourselves enough of a break when we call I, when we say that that's me. Why are we constantly abusing ourselves with this mental, that's not me, I don't want to abuse myself, although we feel we're doing it because we take that I to be us. If you had a friend that was constantly putting you down, constantly giving you negativity, I don't think they'd be a friend for very long, would they? So why do we accept it from ourselves? It isn't us. We're the witness, if we can speak like this. We're the witness to this negative rhetoric in the mind. We're the one watching that mind go do, 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 do. It's us that believes it. We're not the ones thinking these things, although these thoughts are coming, right? But they're not ours. It's just a test from life to see if we'll believe it to be true about ourselves. Believe the inner parasite. I don't want to call it that because I don't want it for people to be like it's me against the mind, because it's not, but life is playing a game with you. We have to taste this negativity to realise it's not what we want and grow up out of it. When we notice that we're being a perfectionist, it's usually because we're scared to fail. And that is sad, because mistakes are fun. I love falling on my arse and making mistakes. I'm being put in situations where I'm constantly making mistakes. Why? So we learn, so we grow. And the faster we learn and grow and are open to making mistakes, the faster we find our purpose, the faster we begin really living in alignment with life. Life is mistakes. My whole life's been one big fuck up until this moment. You know, and I'm sure people resonate with that. Life equals mistakes. But it's those mistakes that we get to make through our urges, through our bliss. By following our bliss, we get to make these mistakes so we learn exactly what it is that life has designed for us to learn, so that we become that little slice of life, that little bit of the jigsaw puzzle that life needs us to be. Everyone's learning differently, right? They're learning different things, but if we don't make the mistakes, we don't learn. We just become narcissistic and like, oh, I'm too much of a perfectionist to make a mistake, I don't want to make a mistake, and that becomes tight, and then we close ourselves off in life, and that's nuts, because then we're not really alive. As soon as we stop growing, we're dying, right? And if we don't make mistakes, we don't grow. We don't have to, it's your lives. You do what you want. But I found it so freeing to just want to make mistakes, to wake up in the morning and be like, yeah, I'm going to make some mistakes today. I'm excited to see where that, where I'm flawed. It's great fun. Because we're not so tightly gripped to this self-image of the best thing in the world since sliced bread. Or whatever it is. I don't say that to mock, I just know it from my life. you know? Ignore the perfectionist, but don't ignore him. Listen. Thank you for your point of view, perfectionist in the mind. I'm going my own way. I'm not going to believe the negative things you're telling me about myself. I am the self. You're the one talking to me. Who's really in control? Who's the one in the powerful seat? The decider or the thoughts? Thoughts can be there, negative though they may be in you right now. You can do some sadhana to change that, but negative though they may be, if you believe them, then that's on you, right? But as the witness to these thoughts, we don't have to believe them. They don't have to create a negative mental state within us. As that mind goes on, we could just watch it, watch the mind play itself out without getting involved with it. Because as soon as we get involved with a negative thought, poof, heart sinks, oh God, I'm the worst person in the world. And we go into this mental loop that just goes blah, 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 boom, pain, blah, 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 we believe it, pain. And we keep leaving our seat of power, poof, for pain. It's not a joyful life, and it's not one that I want to live. So I don't. I don't believe the thoughts. The negative thoughts that make me believe that I'm not good enough. They're just thoughts. But if we believe them, then they're my thoughts. And this is what the awakening is doing. We're stepping out of believing these thoughts as mine, because we're just the witness to them. But if we believe the thought, then it's, oh, why am I the worst person in the world? Rather than the healthy way to deal with it, listen to the thought, oh, you're not good enough. And then me go, thanks thought, that's stupid of you to think, whatever. And then carry on your day. We don't have to believe the thoughts. That is your free will. I hope this helps. I don't know if it will. If it does, let me know. And of course, thank you for the very supportive comments. I really couldn't do this without you. And yeah, I appreciate the thumbs up. I appreciate the love that you're sharing with me. It's nice to receive. So, if this helps, let me know. If it doesn't, let me know. And I'll get better at what I'm doing by making mistakes. And I hope that we all make some more mistakes together. Have a lovely day.